That's fine. We're still learning. We're still learning. We're a new
Yeah,
channel.
it's pulling
Well,
up.
everybody. Oh, well, you see when you do that. Uh we're not firing off on all cylinders, everyone, but we really appreciate you guys joining us again for Grinding Game episode 11 and our second live show. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We're going to hit a little bit of few things. We have boys and I are going to talk a little bit about Mario and nostalgia as we just celebrated Mario Day this past 10th on the March 10th. Diablo 4 started its new season with the Butcher. I'll be the only one to talk about. The boys haven't jumped in yet. I can't blame them. Bungie has just patched Marathon, and we're prepping for the raid and a bunch of discourse surrounding that game. All three of us have jumped in there. The big news is the boys have all finished RE9, and we cannot wait to go into it. And full spoilers, and we'll make sure we announce that before we get into it. So don't worry about that. And we're going to touch a little bit into playing off what we talked about last week with Xbox and PlayStation and what Xbox just announced at GDC. Let's see what they have to say. And do we believe them this time around? Seems like a lot of the same service, but we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. We want to believe, and so the conversation about Xbox used to be about the console war, but likely it feels like Microsoft might slowly be transitioning from what I see into an off ramp of publishing. That's the kind of the question I want to ask everyone as we continue to start this episode today. But before we even get into that, my name's Chris. That's Nick and Dave. Welcome to Grinding Game, and let's start there. Boys, we did a little bit of discussions last week talking about Xbox, PlayStation. Me and Nick were going a little bit back and forth. His deep hatred for the PlayStation ecosystem and their customer service kind of left
Yeah.
a bad taste in his mouth. But
Yeah.
Dave, I know when we got into that conversation, you kind of rightfully so. We just got off a big RE9 talk and talking about the Marathon Server Slam. You kind of left your thoughts for this week. So I want to first hand it off to you because I know you've been doing some research and so yeah, how are you feeling about Xbox in looking into some of the discourse that's come out of GDC this week?
Yeah, I don't know. It's still everything's still kind of cryptic. We don't know if the console war is back or if Xbox is kind of just shifting a different direction and not even trying to be part of the competition anymore. Um, but the facts are out there right now. We talk about all these big games and some of the specs they come with, some of the the graphics, and it, the PlayStation 5 Pro right now is the best place to play. And people are anticipating games like Grand Theft Auto 6, Crimson Desert. I mean, right around the corner. I'm sure even Resident Evil 9. It's like people that have all the best setups, the best kits. They have that 4K or 8K curved gaming monitor with, or big ass TV on their wall. They're gonna want to use that PS5 Pro, and I think that's where Xbox is really gonna want to try to compete in the next generation, is to try to come back around with that's the two things it comes down to, is what's the best. If you can play the game on both pieces of hardware, which one is it going to look the best? And that's where PlayStation's winning right now. And then the other category would be the exclusives. And that's where Xbox was kind of always holding their own. Was it's like, I talked about that being a kid and being like, God, I need to get on 360 because everyone was on Halo and Gears, and I'd hear about Fable, and it was like, that's it right now. And Xbox is losing. They gave away their exclusives, and they don't have the best hardware for these, cross-platform games like a GTA. It's like, what are they doing? What are they going to do next? And now we're seeing this news about Helix, where it's going to be so powerful you can play PC and Xbox games, and I don't know what that means. It seems like they scrapped the marketing behind the Xbox Play Anywhere, kind of like, this is an Xbox campaign. The commercials we were seeing where, it is weird. We have the smart TV out in our living room, and you can, like I said, I think you could download Fallout and just like play on your TV. Like, it's through through cloud gaming and streaming. It's like you're not. And I don't know, man. We had an episode like probably a couple. Now we've been into this a few months. It was probably quite a few weeks ago. We were talking about like physical copies and digital copies of games and stuff. And Me and my wife have been talking about it, where it would be fun to get back into kind of building a physical collection, because everyone has the same story. We lost these things in a garage sale. Mom sold the Nintendo and for $20 in a garage sale, and you're pissed. Or it's like, you took your stuff to GameStop as a kid because you needed a little extra money to buy a new game. And I'm like, man, I wish I just kept everything over the years. But that's so that leads to with the next generation. I hope it does kind of continue. Like, people have these huge libraries now of Xbox games, these catalogs. Like, you download, like I bought Resident Evil. It's like, I hope I can still have this copy of Resident Evil 20 years from now, like with the next Xbox generations, and keeping that track record. So it sounds like they're gonna do it with the new box, Project Helix, and I'm sure we'll find out more about it soon. There's rumors it'll be coming as soon as 2027. So everyone save up a little extra $1,000, maybe $1,200 just to be safe, because this thing sounds like it'll be a beast of a system. And I don't know. I guess we'll find out more soon. But what do you guys think about it?
I would say, like, I agree with a lot of what you said. What concerns me, like you said, is the price. Also, like, I was talking to you guys offline about this. I don't know if this is like the last one and it's like the off ramp. Like, let's give the team, the customers that we have here that we've had for a while, one last hoorah as we slowly turn into the start. Because I don't feel like they're gonna pull back from the exclusives. They're making too much money. Their experiment worked. Like, I think Forza, I was talking with a few of our listeners in the comments that mentioned about how successful Forza was for them to sell on PlayStation. Like, that's a massive amount of revenue they got, and I think that's where PlayStation probably pulled back as well. Was like, they didn't get that kind of success adding their games over to PlayStation. I mean, excuse me, over to PC. So that's probably what hurt them a little bit more. And one thing before I continue, I was listening off about on our live stream, Nick. I don't know if my sound is coming off a little difficult. I don't know if you can test that while I talk a little bit more. Um,
Sounds
Yeah,
pretty
let me
good to
see what
me.
I could do. Yeah, it sounds fun on my end right now.
yeah, I just don't want us to run into that same issue that we had like a couple weeks ago. So, but Dave, continue on that. Like, I think that's where um everyone's kind of grasping, hoping that Xbox is feeling the same way they're feeling and wanting to maintain their ecosystem and continue to play on the console they want to play on. I see Helix, and I think also great name, by the way. I hope they stick with that name. I always feel like they have these awesome names, and then thank you, and they also they have these great names, but then they change it. Remember, it was like Xbox Scorpio or Scorpius or
Yeah, they
Magnus,
have a
and then
great
it's like,
they have a great code name, but then the name that gets published, look at what it's awful. Everyone thought it was going to be like the 720 after the 360. Then they go Xbox One, and then it was
Xbox One X,
One
Series X.
X. Yeah, was this like rectangle black one. I bought that one, and then obviously now we're on the Series S, and it gets so confused. I mean, it's not confusing to us because we're kind of in that world, but like when
Mhm.
you're a parent trying to buy something for your kid, you're like, what is this? Like, I think they just need one thing. Like, they don't
My
need the lower price point digital version. I don't know. What do you
my thoughts are too, like, I just feel like they're not doing themselves any favors with that, like, breaking news of the Helix, that little ad or whatever you wanna call what they released to
Mhm.
showcase it. I mean, I think you're just kinda leaving more people, like, scratching their head thinking, "What is this gonna be?" Like, if I was at
you keep
Xbox right
Xbox in the
now.
conversation?
Yeah, it keeps it in the conversation, but at least figure out what kinda route you're gonna go, and in the meantime, maybe have the CEO or, someone come out there and just say, have a 2, 3 minute video. Hey, this is the future of Xbox. Here's what we're doing. This is our game plan. We're looking to bring back consoles and then finish with that logo. But when you just do that quick snippet, 8-second video, when you sent it to me, I watched it and it was over before my play button went away. And I was like, what was that? You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
kind of like I
with
get what
Ultimate
they tried to
Team.
do, but they just caught a lot of flack for doing that.
Well, I think they did it too, Dave, and I think me and you kind of were talking about this. I think it's because it was the new era, like with the new CEO taking over. Sorry, not CEO, but the president of Xbox taking over. I think it's just like this is her era now. So
They
let's
wanna throw
start
some
it.
gas on the fire. Be like,
Yeah,
"Let's
throw a little bit of
kick
that
out
on there.
something." Yeah.
And then they did what you requested at GDC. You know what I mean? So they did get there and they both discussed it on, um, about where Xbox is going, not just her, but also the CEO of Xbox excuse me, of Microsoft. Um, sorry guys, I am not. I told the boys before we started, I've not been feeling well today, so I'm not firing off all cylinders. Give me a little grace. But I, they did do all that stuff. I do agree with you. Maybe have like a little bit more of a oomph when you announce it, but I think it was more of like a teaser. GDC's around the corner. We'll see you there.
Yeah,
Just
if
kind
you
of
look at the
going that
comments of that video, that everybody was just like
trashing
AI,
it.
AI, AI. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
It
mean
looked
because
like
they
an
were
AI
also
produced video. So it
Yeah.
was like a kind of like a shot in the foot almost, I felt like, before you discuss it to do that. I
Yeah.
don't know. I get
well,
what they
especially
were
The whole
trying to
co the
do, but
whole
just from the community, it seemed like people were like, why, is that all we get? I get what you're doing, but
See, sorry. I was just making sure I was getting Asha's title right. She is the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, so I apologize. Which is also like that's what it says online, not president of
Xbox,
Xbox. Yeah, it's
you know,
new CEO of Microsoft Gaming, but I just wanted to make
President
sure I
of
got her
Xbox
title
is a
right.
cool title.
Right? I know. I was like, that sounded like I was just being goofy, but but yeah, with her, I think that's Asha takes over. Let's have us make a big announcement and try to. But you're right. But I mean, all the talk was her involvement in AI and all that stuff alongside it. So of course, like you said, the internet's unforgiving.
Yeah,
So you
it's a
kind of
6
set
to
her
8
up.
second video, which is what all AI videos are. So it's just like a kind of like, it felt like a backtrack.
yeah, it does feel pretty cheap. Like, people are frustrated. They think about how much money these people are making in some of these positions where it's like,
And how
I
much
kind of
is up in the air.
I
That
didn't
doesn't
think of
help.
yeah, I didn't think about that angle before we started recording, but that's definitely true, man. Like a 6 to 8 second video that just is a little logo swishing across the screen. Like it's like, dude,
It's a
not,
great point. You know what? Nick, that's a great catch on your part. Yeah,
we
the whole
figured that
time
out
you
for our
were doing it.
podcast, and we're making nothing. She's, all these people in that company. It's like, come on, where is the production? You're like, why can't they put something out?
Right. That was my thoughts on it.
Well, then also my thing is with the Steam machine, I believe it got pushed back a little bit more. I don't know exactly when, but it seems like both these machines are going to have similar price points from what I'm understanding. And we just have to wait and see. And then the rumors of PlayStation 6 also having a handheld component involved with it, almost like the Switch,
Hmm.
and it being cheaper than current hardware right now. It really just throws it all like what is everyone focused in on? It seems like PlayStation is kind of following the Nintendo strategy, solely focus on their hardware, their games. It seems like Xbox is kind of copying, not I don't want to say copying, but kind of following the Steam route of making both the console PC couch experience. So for me, it's like when these two come out with the way I see Xbox going, like I've been an Xbox gamer most of my life, but it's like, do I then jump on Steam? I think, like going back to our comment section, a gentleman was making a great, I believe a gentleman was making a great point about like Steam being superior in a lot of ways. And have to agree. Like, every time we ever talk about Steam, it's like all these great deals and they have a
Mhm.
great return policy. So it's like, again, it goes back to what I was saying about Xbox giving their games to PlayStation, right? That kind of like lowers their value for me to want to buy an Xbox. So it's also
Hmm.
like, if Steam puts their storefront on Xbox's hardware, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like, so it's like,
That's a
but then,
crazy move that would draw people to Xbox at that point.
well, well, that's what I was going to ask you. But I think in turn, if Steam machine has the let's just say Microsoft Game Store or whatever they
Like
call their
Xbox Game
online,
Pass.
their PC Game Pass, which they're doing a massive push. That's what I'm curious
Yeah.
about. You know what I mean? And I think
the
that
PC.
it seems that's who Xbox is competing with now. I feel like they're not competing with PlayStation any longer. And I think PlayStation's not competing with them any longer the way we look at it. I think now they're both kind of looking at Steam as like like the the pale rider coming in to conquer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
Mm.
and like we've said before, Nintendo's just kind of sitting on the side watching all of it happen. You know what I mean? Like, so, but
Dude, if
he,
Steam went to Xbox, it would be a massive influx of games that you could not play on anything else other than a sit-down computer, really. So that would be, you
but I
know,
also feel like, don't you think that's almost, if Xbox allows a storefront of that size, they're not making, I don't know what kind of money they'd be making on that, but I also feel like you're letting another group's storefront on your system. You're basically at that point, you've told me what you are. And I think that's what Steam is. So it's like, for me, it's like, if I had to choose between Helix and the Steam machine, obviously you have to look at the specs and everything, but if I'm getting the same exact experience, I think that's worth a discussion. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
think like that at that point we can kind of look at it. We'll see what's stronger price points. And to your point, if I can get Steam Store again, not us, we're not the business part of these guys, right? We're just consumers. As a consumer, if I get the best bang for my buck going to Xbox Helix instead of the Steam machine, I'll definitely do it. Because to your point, if I get all access to all those PC games I'd never get access to, and all these like
Right.
early access games, like I really want to play No Rest for the Wicked right now, but it's not out on consoles yet. But I could have played like already a year's worth of it and play tested it, like a lot of people
yeah,
get to do with different games. Like we got lucky with PoE 2 and it coming to consoles for it's early access. You know what I mean? Remember Baldur's Gate 3 was only
yeah,
like, I believe Steam. Um
yeah. For like a
it
year and a half, I'd played early access on Steam, and it was great.
But I do, I think we can wrap it up here, boys, and we can jump into what we've been playing. But
Sure.
unless this causes a whole new discussion. But what I do see happening, honestly, and I made this comment too, was I do think that one thing we can see relatively soon is them pulling back on Xbox Game Pass and kind of switching over more to the PlayStation Plus format where you get stuff, but it's not day one these big blockbusters. And you have, because
Mhm.
what has happened is Xbox has
Yeah.
trained its audience to not want to buy games. And when I was solely Xbox before I got my PlayStation 5, I was just like that. I was like, this not on Game Pass, I'm good. I'll just play the next Game Pass game. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mhm.
especially now with how much more expensive it is for people, like $30 is nothing to shake a stick at a month. You know what I mean? That's more than most subscriptions you're going to get. Again, I
Yeah.
think you get a bigger bang for your buck than like a Netflix or anything like that because you're
Yeah.
just watching stuff. You actually get to interact, but we're also gamers. So, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
to my wife, like that Game Pass thing would be like a massive waste of money. She's not into it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
What is this on what
I
is
think
this showing up?
if Steam goes,
29.99.
yeah, if Steam goes, they'd almost have to get rid of Game Pass
well, I
unless
wouldn't say they
they
got
cut
rid
a
of it,
deal
Nick.
with Steam or something.
Well, I don't think they get rid of it. I think that they just, like I said, I think they pivot more to like, there's a service here. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's something you can get out of here, but you're not getting Fable day and date. You know what I mean? Like, you can get,
Yeah.
I don't know, like a couple indie games, or like if you look at the
Right.
PlayStation Plus
Yeah,
People
storefront,
will still buy it.
eventually, yeah.
People will double dip like you said, if they took the PlayStation approach and it's all these older games on Game Pass,
Yep.
but then,
That's what I think.
I mean, I still bought Resident Evil for $70 and I'm
yeah,
subscribed to Game Pass just because I know I'm gonna cycle through some like eh, I think it's a great value, like you were saying, compared to other subscriptions, like what you're actually getting, you know.
But to your point, saying that you bought now, imagine like, again, it's great for us that have Game Pass. I don't have it, 'cause
Right.
I don't play on Xbox right now. But when like Forza, Fable, all those games that, let's be real, if Fable came out on Xbox right now and you had Game Pass that wasn't on Game Pass, you would buy it and play it. So that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but they
Yeah.
miss out on all that revenue.
Definitely for our job, but but as the average consumer, that changes things. Like I want to purchase these fresh games right now because of what we're trying to do and what for our show and things like that. But I think day to day, people will think about that if they did take those off, because that is a big factor too. $30 a month, you get all those old games, but you're also probably going to get Gears of War E-Day, and you're also probably going to get Halo campaign. Like, you'll get these new games right away, so that makes the value so much better. I don't know if $30 a month is worth it just for older titles.
No, I think if they pulled back, they would. If
They'd
they
have
were
to lower
smart, drop the
they'd have to
price.
lower the tiers.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I would
too.
think they would lower the price. But and
They
again,
would
I don't
have
want
to.
to.
They would have to, because they're
I don't
taking
want.
away value.
Mhm.
Getting Gears of War
And I
day
don't.
one makes it $30 a month.
Yeah, I don't want it to sound like I'm advocating them to do that. I'm just saying, like, if they want to, I don't think they ever would, but if they want to go back to their own exclusive, own things like that, I think the only way that would work is to build that foundation of you got to buy these newer games.
This is
And
my.
I think
that's what
the
happened to
Steam coming
PlayStation.
to it is the Combat 2 exclusives, though, because it makes sense, because if PlayStation pulled all their games from PC, that would make sense why they're doing that, because if Steam goes to Xbox, you still won't be able to get PlayStation exclusives, but then they have a whole PC storefront that you can't get on PlayStation.
Mhm.
So it's kind of, you know what I mean? That's their form of, they don't have it necessarily an Xbox exclusive, but if you don't want the Steam Deck, let's say the Steam Deck's not a good console, and you want to play Steam on your couch, then you'd get the Helix. I think that would probably be the business move.
And I think the only reason, to your point, I think the only way someone would probably choose the Steam machine over the Xbox Helix, depending on release dates, if we find out the Helix is like like Dave said, worst case scenario, like $1,200, hopefully the Steam machine is like a reasonable like $600 to $700, and then that's where you can make a decision too. It's like, well, for me, I'm a little bit
And how
different.
does it run?
Nick, for you as well, you have a PlayStation 5. You just got to get the HDMI port fixed, right? You have the PlayStation exclusive and Xbox exclusive machine right there, right? You get all the games there.
Yeah.
So do you want to spend another $1,200 on the brand new
You've got
Xbox,
it
or
all.
do you just grab the Steam machine at a cheaper price? Now you have everything. You know what I mean? So I think people are in those boats.
Steam
Like, I'm in
machine
that boat.
it'd have to run good.
Make your choice now.
Well, it'd have to run good, because ultimately, and we all know this, that some of the games, as time progresses, are going to go to next gen consoles. So you're going to have to make a decision at one point or another.
Switch
And I
to
think that's what Xbox is trying to do. Is, look, they know they've been failing on the numbers. They're prepping for this next generation of games. They make this basically PC grade console that can play computer games, all the Steam games and Xbox games, and that's what it is, right? So it's like, when the next gen decision, right, it's not going to be something that drops and I'm going to pick it up if I could still play all the games on my Series X. No, I'm not going to. But when they ultimately start saying you need this next gen to play, that's where people are going to start saying, okay, do I want PlayStation and Xbox exclusives, or do I want Xbox and Steam exclusives, for lack of a better term?
No,
or
I
at the
think
price points, and the price point, of course. And if the Steam Deck is good and cheaper, but it runs good, I think it's going to come down to its hardware and all that good stuff then at that point, between Helix and Steam Deck.
This is what I think could happen. Almost everyone has an iPhone in their pocket, right? It's the simplicity of it. You know what you're getting. Right now, PC gaming is way too complex.
100%.
People hesitate to get into it. Kids are telling their parents, I need this gaming PC, and they don't know, what to buy. And they buy them a $500 gaming PC, and the kid's pissed because it's fucking low quality. But this Helix PC combo could be, the equivalent of like an iPhone. And in terms of the simplicity, I know there's better phones out there. There's people that get way into that stuff, with an Android, they can do this and they can do this and that, better cameras on certain, but it's like the iPhone is the everyday consumer. You're getting a good quality product. What if the Helix turns into that? I'm more on the optimistic side of things. And then that's how I could see it, because right now I have I have a Series X, but I don't know. Should I play on the monitor? Right? If we're playing marathon, of course, I want to be on this monitor, be up close. But then if I want to play Crimson Desert, I want to be out on the TV. So it's like, how do you split that up? Do you move it every time? Do you buy two of them? What I think the future could be is next gen PlayStation. That's what I have out in the living room. This Project Helix, that's what I have out on the gaming desk with the monitor. I'm locked in, ready to play. And then the Switch 2, whatever, that's what you sit back in bed, you play a little handheld. I think that's the split of the future. This is my prediction. March 2026. We'll see how it looks 5 years from now.
I like it. I think the only change I would put is that PlayStation 6 portable is what we're going to be playing handheld wise, because it's going to be so much better than the stinky Switch.
Well, right. I mean, I'm just thinking Pokemon. Like right now, we've been doing Pokemon before
Stinky
bed.
Switch.
I know we're gonna get into that a little bit, but
No, you're right. With your plan, you have everything. There's not one single game that will escape your grasp.
Yeah, so Dave doesn't give a shit. He's like, drop it all.
Yeah, he's like, I got freaking.
But I got no time. I got no
36, 37, whatever it's gonna be called, and then I got God of War 13, and then you got it all at that point, man.
Eventually.
Speaking of which, before we jump forward, while we're on the Switch, and there's actually one other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about and get your thoughts on it before we. I know I keep saying before we get into what we're playing, because we got some stuff we want to talk about there for sure. Mario Day was March 10th. I know we're all not really Nintendo players. Well, I didn't think so until Dave surprised us this week, and we'll touch into that as he's jumping back into Kanto. But boys, with it being Mario, and we kind of saw the trailer for Super Mario Galaxy, which I think just looks great. The first one was great, Nick. I know you watched it like 90 times with your son, and but boys, I just wanted a real quick round table, and I would love for our chat to jump into this our comment section once we upload and all that stuff. But like, what is one of your fondest Mario moments, be it game, the movie, any of the games, not just the platforming games? And Nick, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, for me now, it would be watching the Mario movie with my son, and he like totally got into it. And for me, it's like a full circle thing because I grew up playing a lot of those games, and it's like Mario Kart now. It's like something I'll play with him, or Mario Party, but it's not what it was. It's not what we experienced, those games, the 2Ds, the side scrollers, the Mario World, all that stuff where you kind of saw that game really evolve. So for me, a fond memory is just him sitting down watching that movie and like getting introduced to all those characters and just totally loving it. And I liked the movie. I thought the movie was great. So that's been a really positive thing. Like he's like, he's got some Mario shirts now. It was a cool way to get him into it. They executed on it and he really liked it. So for me, that's one, and I'm super stoked for the new movie. The new movie looks great. I'm gonna watch it with them again when that drops. We're gonna rent it on Prime, most likely, or we might go to the movie theater. We'll see.
I think we all go to the movie theater together because I would love to do that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, let's go, and we'll take Jackson.
I'll take the dogs too. Sneak them in there, dress them as Yoshi.
Dress as Yoshi.
Yeah, that sounds really nice right now. Big tray of nachos, maybe. They always have those boxes of candy that's mostly filled with air, but
yeah,
maybe you just sneak in your own big bag of candy.
Yeah.
Just do what we did. We were kids. You've been to the downtown. Have you been to the downtown mall in Charlottesville when you visited, Dave, before? There's like a bunch of restaurants all around there in that big movie theater. And what Nick and I did one time is we went out, we got a bucket of popcorn, and we get it to like go walk around. We dumped it out and got a bunch of burgers and like I can't remember what else we put in there. You remember this? And we put it all in the bottom and then scooped all the popcorn off a trash bag like, on back into it, which is gross to begin with. And so we get in there and like they're like, "Oh, you guys didn't really put a dent in the popcorn." We're like, "Yeah." And then we walk in there and like dump out the popcorn and we're just eating cheeseburgers out of the bucket. And it's just like, you gotta love being a kid. I'll go next.
Oh, great.
Anyone that watched our first episode knows like my my love of Super Mario World and everything that goes along with that. So a different, really fond memory I have is for those of you guys that don't know, the three of us we all served and we all deployed as well, and the boys will understand this too. But one fond moment I had, it was like a moment of like, how do we can if you guys can help me like in when you deploy, it's like a feeling of comfort, a feeling of home. We went into one of those fob areas in the center ones where they have like the game stations all set up, and they had
Mm-hmm.
4-player Mario Kart. And this, me and three of the other guys just hopped on there and played Mario Kart 64 again, like we were all, back in middle school. And it was just so much fun. Like, it's funny that you think you've gone through a bunch of crap at that point. You guys know how it is. And it was just like a moment of like, we're all kids again. It feels
Yeah.
good. You kind of like forget where you are for a little bit for a second there. We're all like looking around. It feels like we're back at our, in our room doing a LAN party or something. So it was
Yeah.
just a special moment to me, and that's why Mario throughout my life, like, yeah, I'm not a huge Nintendo guy anymore, but that character role and that whole universe, it just always puts a smile on your face when you see it. Like when they saw the movie and you see Yoshi in the tunnel, and it's just like you're so excited to hear him go Yoshi, you know what I mean? Like do his like thing or
Right.
hear the sound he makes when he like does his tongue and hits people with it. It's like
Yeah.
and it's cool that we know all those. Like one thing I looked when they jumped, I was paying attention to Yoshi's legs to make
See
sure
if he
they
did the
do that
kick.
little
Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, oh, they got it.
They
Beautiful.
got it.
So Dave, how about you?
Well, me and my siblings used to fight over the living room Nintendo 64 to get after it. And dude, seeing Super Mario as a kid, that first, RPG, I guess, where you're jumping through the paintings and um, navigating through the castle. I mean, that's why I'm addicted to video games now as an adult. It's those crazy things we saw as a kid, And luckily, my sister got disinterested in video games pretty fast. So then I was the older brother, and my little brother would have to sit there and watch me play. And I got a lot of good time in on Super Mario for sure. And they'd play all the Mario's, across. We would have them on Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, DS, all through. And now, I've definitely fallen off Nintendo as well, like you said. Over the years, I know some of these Mario games have been pretty highly rated lately, and then of course Donkey Kong Bonanza last year got a pretty good rating, but I just haven't been too drawn into the Switch, especially the new Pokemon games. Um, I'm sure they have their perks and qualities, but I think it's also the fact that it's like we're adults now. A lot of these games are more directed towards kids. It's more fun to play the older versions of these games because it just kind of brings that nostalgia. It's fun to be able to jump back to like the old stuff from when we were kids, but then play some of this current stuff. Like a Resident Evil that can hit something totally new. Like I don't know. It would take a lot for Nintendo to kind of pull me back in, like any of these newer titles. And that's for everything: Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros. Um, it's like as the years went on, they've just kind of fallen off for me. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
because of age. That's probably a lot of it. We grew up, but then also, I don't know. Maybe they'll release something that pulls us all back in, like some crazy new Mario. It's open world, and we'll see. But
Well, for Pokemon's anniversary, they released 2 games from the past that got both you and your wife in Pokemon Leaf Green and Fire Red. You sent us this message while me and Nick were going back and forth talking about Marathon, threw us completely through a loop and said, I know you boys are out there in Tal City doing some runs and getting loot and fighting each other to the death, but your boy just got Bulbasaur. So you want to talk a little bit about you and the wife jump, which again, it's just so awesome when I hear that kind of stuff. And there was some controversy with them releasing it, charging $20, is that and the other. We don't have to jump into all that. I want to
don't
hear
know.
about
People bitch about everything.
It's
We're
true.
good. We're 35 minutes in, so we don't have to worry about it. You know, it's such an easy transition to go straight into Leaf Green right now, but there was no, I'll save it. There's something I want to talk to you guys about, but we got to talk about Leaf Green. I'm too excited, and Nick's gonna have to reel Dave and I in. What made you and the wife decide to jump back into these these remakes of the classics with just better, I think they're like the most superior versions of those games. Now, granted, the traditional ones will always have special places in my heart. Red, blue, and of course yellow. Yellow was just amazing at the time when I got it. Like having Pikachu
Yeah.
behind you, starting with Pikachu, and then it kind of made you think the first gym when you go against Brock and the rock types, and realizing that Pikachu make it, as a kid, realizing, well, this isn't gonna work. So you go back to the forest, grab like a secret for anyone playing the game back in the day. Get a Caterpie, get that thing up to a Butterfree, hit it with confusion. You're gonna get through that first gym easy. Um, but like those traditional ones, that
Hell yeah.
color scheme. Nick knows. He saw my face light up when Pokemon was mentioned. When
Yeah, so
I
much
had
so much wasted space in my brain.
oh yeah, like
All
I
this
like it
info.
was funny. Eliana's like my wife was like she can't remember, I can't remember what we were discussing, but Pokemon was brought up, and she said, asked me something. She's like, do you remember where I dropped this? I was like, no, but I could tell you all 151 Pokemon real quick if you need that. And she's like, I don't think I do. I was like, oh well, I mean, you're lost, but but Dave, yeah, let's start talking about it. Like how much have you played? How just the floor is yours.
Yeah, first off, I'll address the haters. People,
Good.
I saw people were all fired up. They're like, everyone's just mad about everything. They'll go spend $100 in one night just buying drinks at the bar, but then they see Fire Red and Leaf Green $20, and they're all in this like outrage about these games making money, and it's like, who? I mean, it's a perfectly ported version over to the Switch. It's awesome, and then you can transfer. They have this whole thing, Pokemon Home, which is now it's a free, and it combines all the games into one, so you can like transfer between all the games, and it's pretty cool. And but the reason we decided to jump into this game, I mean, I talked about back in my childhood. Um, all these kids are addicted to social media because their parents are putting an iPad in front of their face. Well, my parents put a Game Boy Color in front of my face, and I got addicted to gaming. And that was one of my first games when I was 5 years old. Come on in. Come on. My dog's coming in. But that was one of my first games, or my first system was this Game Boy handheld. And so like to go back to these titles, because what they released, I mean, this was a 2004 release, and it was a remake of a what I believe 1996 game. I mean, this is a 22-year-old remake, but it still holds up to this day. Like playing it, I mean, it's
To
a,
this
it's
day.
it's a lot more unforgiving. All these newer titles. Like I said, we've grown up. These games are more directed towards kids, of course, and they've gotten, in my opinion, so much easier. But playing these older titles, it is more of that kind of strategy RPG. Like you have to, form your party the right way. You have to kind of figure things out. And of course, this isn't something I'm just diving into, staying up all night. It's the Switch. We could throw them up on the headboard, and it's playing, 30 minutes when the wife's sitting there watching Law and Order SVU. I could pull out my Switch and level it up. It's a $20 game that I'm probably going to play all year, just like here and there, little pockets of time. And, obviously my main system's still Xbox. I want to keep playing what we've been playing, Resident Evil and some Marathon. But I was happy they threw this out there on the Switch, because I always thought it would be cool to have like kept a track record over the years of like, the first game I had, and kind of carried everything forward. But like I said, there's always that you sold a game to GameStop, or the garage sale that you didn't ask for, and you lost like your old games or like your old Pokemon lineups, and but now they've put these old games into the Switch, so we could carry forward they could carry forward for years now that it's all kind of caught up and up to date. But no, it's cool.
So,
It's
who's
fun to
your
go back.
starter? Who'd you pick as your starter?
I picked the Bulbasaur starter, but I quickly put him in the computer because I've been playing differently. I've been just trying different things out. So um, I don't know. I played it multiple times as a kid, so now it's like trying to play it in a different way too is pretty fun.
So when you say you put him in the computer, so you're not using the starter, you're just like going around and like. So who are you running with right now?
I boxed him. Um,
You can release them too if you want to dedicate. You really want to dedicate it.
no, because that's what I was saying would kind of be cool. Like I don't know, it's just fun. If me and my wife play here and there, and we can trade as well and try to just like slowly, because now it's like um it carries over across all the Switch games. So there's like 1,000 Pokemon now, and then they had that new announcement recently for the next generation. Generation 10 is
Yeah, that one
coming out.
looks actually pretty good. I'm actually maybe
It
getting
comes
that
out
one.
next year. We might have a couple podcast episodes where we're discussing it. So maybe
Did
I'm
you
dipping
see
my
that one, Nick? Or no?
No, what is it?
It's the new. It's like what is it? Wind and Wave or something?
yeah, Winds and Waves.
Yeah.
2027, but it's going to be only on the Switch too. So they're leaving the last generation behind. And to be honest, we've all talked about how we've kind of jumped away from Nintendo. I could not tell you what the difference is between the Switch 1 and the Switch 2. Like I don't know what got upgraded or if it's a bigger screen, probably things like that. But like I've been totally off the grid with Nintendo, and we just randomly jumped in because I found out this old game was being ported to Switch for $20, and we jumped back in. So that's all the Nintendo that I know about right now.
So I'm gonna throw a little bit of stuff out here now. The new one looks cool because the fire starter is basically a Pomeranian, Nick. So
Really?
it's probably one of the cutest looking guys. And being dog lovers, I'm absolutely don't care what anything else is. I'm gonna start with that Pomeranian if I play that game.
Yeah, it's be the background of Nick's phone.
But Dave, also I gotta say a little bit of shame. Not getting fire red and getting leaf green. That's a little disappointing. You always start with Charmander because Charizard's the king.
I gave it to the wife. She got fire red. I never had leaf green. Oh, well, that's another thing, dude.
Yeah, there they are. Look at that. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. That's awesome.
We should have a three-way competition, and whoever like a three-way battle or tournament or something, and whoever loses has to get.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Kind of compete.
What are we going to utilize? Are we utilizing fire red and leaf green like that?
No, I'm saying when the new game drops, we all kind of play.
I say we do it now with these ones.
We'd have to set some kind of parameters, like I don't know,
max level.
Yeah, no higher level than this. We battle every 10 levels. We battle or something like that.
You know why level 60 stand? Because 55 Dragonair involves in the Dragon Knight. You gotta have Dragon Knight on the team. But we also but no, Charizard's always been my favorite, but like Blastoise is a strong second. Like big boy Blastoise.
Yeah, he's good.
Awesome, man, with the cannons and everything. Always loved that character. Pokemon growing up. Charizard's always cool, don't get me wrong. It's a fire dragon, let's not be real. But like I would usually gear towards getting Blastoise if I could.
I've used those, Charizard was my first pick ever as a kid. Like I wanted to do something totally different this game, or this playthrough. And that's the thing. When I was going back talking about like physical copies and stuff, if you're trying to buy Fire Red or Leaf Green, like the actual Game Boy Advance cartridge, it's like $150 on eBay.
Yeah, they're up there now.
I'm like, I wish I had. That's not like a fortune. I would have just rather held on to the copy, and then let's see what it's worth in 30 more years. It's I'm kicking myself for getting rid of all those old things, but now, at least I could build up a little copy on the Switch, and it's digital, but that's the future.
No, and then going back to the game, Nick, I don't think you've ever played Fire Red or Leaf Green, right? You
Yeah, I
played the I
did.
know you oh you played, yeah. So for those that haven't, what makes them different from the original is it's basically the original just optimized a little bit better with a little bit of things here and there. Um also have like an end game area of the Orange Islands, which then brings some of the Gen 2 Pokemon to it,
Yeah,
which is pretty sick.
the end game is
Um
huge.
Yeah, so it's pretty awesome. What I hope that this inspires them to somehow figure out, I don't know how they would do it just with because it's a DS port, but Heart Gold and Soul Silver, if they ported those over, because those are two of my favorites of all time. I thought they were just, again, I think Gold and Silver are some of the best Pokemon games ever made, just with the idea of like you beat the Johto regions, then you go to Kanto, and then you fight your old self on top of a mountain. I brought it up like I think a while back, but it's just still one of the best games.
Mhm.
Growing up as a kid, seeing all that as a kid and realizing who you're battling and stuff, it's just so much fun. And then Tyranitar was like one of my favorite Pokemon. It was basically just Godzilla they added to the Gen 2. But that's awesome, man. I'm glad you guys are into it, and make sure that if you're gonna trade, that Gengar is king. You gotta get Gengar, Machamp, and Alakazam. You gotta get them to the trades, man.
Yeah,
Um, but for me on my end, my Dave and the wife are in Kanto. I decided to delve back into Diablo. Season 12 started yesterday, the season of Slaughter. Which a cool gimmick they did this time around. And this is very much, and I'll start it with this. This game is definitely, excuse me, this season is definitely just a quick little 1-2 punch before the expansion comes out. So what they did was they added the butcher experience into it. So with that, you go to these shrines of slaughter, certain areas. One of the best ones, surprisingly, is the PvP area.
Oh,
Where
wow.
so like you go into the PvP area, you activate a shrine of slaughter, and then you're fighting all these enemies. Other players are fighting them, and whoever ends up with the highest kill streak and gets the most kills by the end of it turns into the butcher, and then you just start attacking other players. And
That's
it's
pretty
just, and
cool.
then all the players are teaming up trying to battle you as the butcher, and you get all, and then your move set changes to the butcher's move set. So you get like a charge, use the chains, you activate like a hell furnace. It's really fun. They
That's
have the
pretty
same
cool.
thing in they have the same thing in the Hell Tides. Shrines of Slaughter, same different, you're just attacking all kinds of different enemies, trying to get those and they added kill streaks, which is something from, I'm sure you remember from Diablo 3, where like as you get the higher kill streaks, you get more experience, you get like different perks. So, the higher it gets, obviously the better it gets. And so you try to build your builds to be fast and want to keep getting kills and keep running around. And what I'm running this season as a paladin, I'm going the thing that frustrates me, they call it the Captain America build, but it's not Captain America, because as we know, Captain America throws the shield, gets a shield back. This one's more you throw it and it's shooting little spikes. It's more like a frozen ore paladin,
Right.
but it's that one. It's basically using your shields and auras with thorns and just eradicating everything on the screen. It's a lot of fun. I'm having fun with that. I'm at level 45 now. Some people are already at Paragon 260, which is just crazy. Those are like the streamers and stuff. But I'm jumping back and forth between that and Marathon. But as of right now, it's just like it's another Diablo season. You're just crushing through monsters. You're leveling up. You're getting your build together. Like I said, it seems like this one is supposedly one of the better builds. The one I was like gambling that I might have not gambling with. I was like kind of tossing up deciding who I was going to be. I was thinking about jumping in as the Necro and doing that triple golem build, but I figured I'm definitely going to run Warlock for the expansion. So I might get
Right.
one more season as the Pally.
Yeah,
I
don't
did
burn yourself out on the summoner.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. It's kind of like I feel like they are different, but I feel like they'll follow a lot of the same things. What
Yeah.
they showed in that developer showcase for the Warlock, it's more of like an up close and personal, like basically like a battle mage. Like you're
Cool.
in the fight. They have abilities where they fuse with like the demons and like all these different things. So it'll be really fun to play and a lot different apparently from the Diablo 2 Warlock that I ran through the whole campaign just on the normal. I didn't go and do it again and all the different difficulties like before, but just ran through the all 5 acts just as that Warlock just to get a feel for it. It was a lot of fun. Going back to Diablo 4 now though, but yeah, it's I mean, I'll play it, get through the season, I'll get up the Paragon points. I'll play until I get a few mythics, get my build all together, then I'll drop off. But I mean, like I said, the one thing I will say, I had a lot of fun with it. There's one last game that I've been playing that we're going to talk about at the tail end of this, but that game was kind of pulling me away from a brand new season of Diablo, which is hard for me to move away from it
Yeah.
because I know people are probably rolling their eyes, but I do enjoy Diablo 4. I know it's the dad ARPG and you do become super powerful, and there's jokes going around saying it's like basically Vampire Survivors at a certain point when you get so OP, which is true, especially when I was playing Hammered in Oregon last go around, where you basically just stand there and your wings are destroying everything around you. But it really, Blizzard embraces that power fantasy. As we know, we play PoE 2. That's a totally different type of game, fun in its own right, but very unforgiving, and you never really feel like OP. But I will say that this is a fun little gimmick. I don't think it'll I think I'll probably play it for about a week, maybe 2 here and there, but it's a gimmick and it's just there in a placeholder before the April expansion. Last thing they did in the shop, which I just think it's entirely too expensive for those skins, but they're doing Doom the Dark Ages skins. So
Oh,
everyone
okay.
can get I mean, it fits, right? Let's not
Yeah.
lie. I mean, Doom fits perfectly in that universe, but nothing really sang to me. I'm like, I wouldn't say love. I liked Doom the Dark Ages, but not enough to buy skins for. It's not like a Warcraft skin, Like if they have a Golden a Warlock skin when the
Yeah,
game
you're
releases,
in.
oh, immediately. And I'll hate myself as I'm saying yes, purchase, and I'll be so mad, but I'll look cool as Golden for that season. But Blizzard's Blizzard, Diablo's Diablo, and we're looking forward. Well, I am looking forward to Lord of Hatred as it decides to come out with Saros and Pragmata all within a 2-week period. So that's good. I don't even think 2-week period. I think a week period. So we'll figure out how we're going to make all that work. But that's then. This is now. And a game that all three of us have been playing. We all went through it. We've all beaten it. And everyone that's watching now, everyone that's going to watch this episode, we are going to go into spoilers. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers, please skip over this part, come back to it. We will show in our timestamps a start and an end, so you know when to come back. But we are going to go into a little bit of, well, not a little bit. We're going to go into full spoilers. We're just going to have a full discussion here about RE9. But I truly understand that people still have time to beat it. We've all had the luxury of doing so. But Dave and I have been talking a little bit more, Nick. So I think I want, with you being the last one to jump into it because you were on a trip and then finishing it, I think a couple days ago. I'd love to hear your thoughts, especially both you and Dave did your homework. You played RE2. So just kind of start and hit anything you want to hit. And we'll start picking it apart from there. But floor is yours.
Yeah, so the last time we talked, I'm trying to think of where I was. I think I had hit a good amount of uh Grace and then a little bit of Leon. So I kind of got an experience of both. And then here we are currently talking about on the back end of finishing this experience. I think I'm echoing through you a little bit, Dave. But yeah, but dude, I'll tell you, I talked about when we started that, the visuals, the sound effects, the kind of swapping between an extremely scary game, horror game as Grace to a very action-packed game as Leon. Overall, just the game was fantastic. I think it did really well. And this is me speaking. I was kind of burnt out at the tail end of Grace of kind of playing that type of game style where it was very, very what's up, Crunch? It was very just like kind of, I don't know, mentally draining. You're like going slow, there's pop-ups coming at you, especially the basement was a whole lot. That level where you're just getting jump scared left and right, and you still kind of, you're getting better as Grace. You're getting more upgrades with your the steroids and the stabilizers. So you're getting better, but it's like it's just jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. And I was kind of getting burnt out as playing as her and then it fully swapped into Leon going into this like completely almost different game, completely action packed. It was like a breath of fresh air getting to Raccoon City as Leon, and even having that little moment where you're stopping the horde from attacking Grace and Emily from the balcony was like, oh, now I got a high powered rifle and I'm just headshotting shit. You go down there, you get into the house, you have this giant cool battle, and then you're back to Grace, and that's also I'm kind of glad how short that phase was. Like, yes, it was still back to the jump scare and the girl creeping around and all this stuff, but I flew through that part, right? I was like, kind of like, I know it's going to be fully on time after this. I got to get through this part.
Hey, Nick, before you go, I want to pull at that real quick. I feel like that part, I think with the water treatment plant, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like they kind of overdid the girl at that point? Like too many jump, it kind of lost its luster. Like throughout the rest of the game, like she was this looming, terrifying figure, and then they just had her jumping out non-stop, no, like over and over to the point where I wasn't even getting scared anymore. I was like, okay, just hit
Yeah,
you.
and it
Yeah.
was very predictable. Like I when you would go to hit the cranks or do the levers, I knew you're going to get jump scared right before you get to the lever, right? So I was anticipating it, right? And but I also think yes, it kind of lost its luster, but she was also such a pain in the ass at that point because you had the intro with her, you had the basement with her, and now you have the water treatment plant with her. It was such a satisfying feeling to open up that roof and disintegrate her and know that that is it for the rest of the game. You don't have to go through that experience. So I think it's like yes, it lost its scariness, but I think it kind of really set you up to be like this is finally you did it. You took her down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's hit you with a bunch of it all at once right before we call it a day. I get
Yeah.
it. Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of my appreciation for that. When I got to Raccoon City, and you had mentioned this, and I didn't know kind of what you meant at the time because I'd played a little bit of Leon, but yes, that as a full game would be fantastic. I loved how the new stash system worked. You weren't trying to conserve things as much. You still were, but it incentivized you to go out and like clear the map, right? You want to get the kills, get the credits, go back there, upgrade your guns because sooner or later you're going to have the big boss fights, and you want to be completely geared up. So I really enjoyed it. All of Raccoon City was done so well. All the different parts you went into were very well done. I liked how the zombies were kind of all a different style, right? You go into that one factory type building or the warehouse, and they're like stone zombies, coming up out of the ground. The guys in the water, you got the guys with the spears, and then you could use the weapons. It was just I think you said it was like Devil May Cry with Leon, right? It did feel like that. Like you were kind of like, I'm ready to take on something bigger and badder. And I think that really too, playing as Grace made you want that more, right? You wanted to feel like, all right, I'm tired of getting scared and pushed around by the zombies and by these creatures. Like, give me a shotgun, give me a rifle, let me go wreak some havoc on them. Was not prepared for the motorcycle scene. Like that was nuts.
Absolute cinema.
It was,
so
dude.
good, man.
I was like, it's so funny. My wife was sitting next to me when I was playing that part, and she had kind of seen bits and pieces of all the play, and she was like, "What they throw like GTA into this game too now?" Because when you're riding on the bike, and I was like, "Yeah, this is nuts."
There's real quick. I'm sorry, Nick. Like you got me excited thinking about it. That part.
No, y'all jump in whenever.
I think it's the most like you'll see it all throughout YouTube now is him when he hits up that bridge and goes all the way up that full incline. The last time I stood up like that, amped up for a game, it was like, this feel in that moment was Space Marine 2 when he puts the banner in and you're doing that last stand.
Yeah,
and I know you know what I'm talking about, Nick, but
that's cinema.
It was just God. It was just like, dude, you're like, what are we doing? We were just running around in a panic around a hospital. And now I'm on a motorcycle shooting down demon dogs, jumped off, and I'm about to gun joust a Frankenstein. Like, come
Yeah,
on
dude.
now, man. What are we doing? It was good. And it's like, you're right. It is Resident May Cry. Like, that's what we
Yes.
turned it into. But go ahead. Sorry, Nick. Keep going.
This is also the balls on Leon to drive up the side of a skyscraper. He's lucky there's another one toppled on the other side. I was thinking that the whole time. I said, what am I going to land on the other side of this?
You don't need
Yeah.
luck when you have aura.
Yeah, he ain't got one-liners to save you.
He's like, I'll just land here.
But it's like they did so good with both parts of the game. Like, I was so engaged with both parts. Like, the action parts, the maps were so well designed in different areas and cool little places you went into. And it's just, you know, I don't want to take up too much of talking about it, but and kind of let you guys go into your big moments in it. But you know, what I will say is when you the one thing that I wish they wouldn't have had in was when you went back as the little girl, the little Grace,
Oh,
and you had to go through that scene again, because I was like, dude, at that point I was like, I'm locked in this Leon action. This is now what I want for the tail end of the game. And now I'm navigating these cretins trying to snap my neck. I'm glad it's as short as it was, dude, because I was like, gosh, you just mentally tapped out at that point of the jumps. So
I actually saw a clip. I found a clip that was showing there's a pretty massive skip you can do for that area. Like, people are so quick, man. They've already figured out. They're doing the speed runs. People are beating the game in 2 hours, you know. And I saw a little segment where, because that part was so, I remember, like, I was trying to, like, get to bed. I knew I was pretty close to beating the game, and you get stuck in that part where you're creeping around with those little girls with the shaved heads, and it does kind of drag a little bit, but there is a skip for it, you know, for any speedrunners out there. You can YouTube it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I accidentally did part of it when I was going because they all disappeared. They did jump scare me again when I went to get the hatch door and they attacked me. And I was like, God, dude, these things, bro. And you just like stand there in the corner and you're like, you know, the typical breathe, like the. I'm like, dude, stop it. Just stop it.
They did good with that too. With like the one got really close and then the noise happened. And I was like, am I supposed to be here? You know, like, are they going to find me right here? I was like, please don't.
Yeah, you think you're in the wrong hiding spot.
Yeah, I thought, you guys are right. I thought her head was about to snap at us. And I was like, no. And then, but then you like that whole area itself. Yeah, wasn't a fan. I was scared of it. I think it's one of the scarier parts just because those things are terrifying, dude.
Oh, it was creepy. And I was playing at the wrong. I hit that point. It was like, you know, probably 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. So it was just the worst time to be going through that area of the game. But
I did like finding out, like we kind of figured it out, but then you realize, like, because I don't think you're playing as Grace, right? You're playing as one of the other experiments.
Yeah, you're one of the clones or copies or whatever they are.
But then you find out all these, like, obviously it's Umbrella, it's Resident Evil, they're doing horrible experiments, but then realizing that Grace was a part of all these experiments and she was like the perfect version, is what I'm gathering, or she was what they based off of. That part I was a little couldn't really grasp, but
yeah, because ultimately, like, the only thing Grace knew they needed her for was the code. So were they just like trying to create a version of her that knew it? Or
I think that's what it was like. That's where it was throwing me off at the tail end, right? So it was like she's just normal, and it was all just like trying to, like, they were all chasing this thing that didn't exist, and that's why it was all, nothing was ever happening from it. That's what I don't know. I gotta look back into it a little bit more. I kind of finished it and I was like, I gotta walk away from this because it was like a perfect experience. You know what I mean? Like,
you gotta
sit down
and read through your intel files.
Yeah, it's gotta go through all of them. I know people are probably screaming at us when they watch this again, like, you guys didn't read.
Well, there's so much. You have to you got to set aside 30 minutes to read. I mean, at the end of the game, did you guys see there's the full report from Grace where
I did read that. That was cool.
You read all of it? I saw it. It was like 60 pages or something, and I was like, dude, I gotta go to bed. But Maybe another time I'll sit here. I'll have I'll read it.
Let's
But
make a cup of coffee and just read it through it. Put a pair
Yeah,
of glasses
start your
on. There
morning
you
with
go.
Grace's report.
yeah, let's see here.
But it's I do like I'll run through it too quickly too. Some of the, no, actually, before I even start, I really want to hear from both of you guys. You guys both played Resident Evil 2. One of the moments you guys went on about that really resonated with you was when that guy lost his father. Well, when he lost his daughter and had to make that decision. Um, how did that part resonate with you guys when Leon walked through the kendo weapon shop and gun shop, excuse me, and he finds the old skeleton and has the flashback and then makes that promise, and then the next thing you know, you're in that final fight with the tyrant. How did that feel with you guys, Dave? I'll start with you.
I thought it was great how they tied in so many things from the Resident Evil 2 remake or that story in general of when the outbreak started. Just walking into the police station and that map being so fresh. I know Nick will probably say the same thing. That map was just starts to get imprinted in your brain because you keep rechecking it, make sure you're
Mhm.
going the right way. And then they have this updated version of the police station where a lot of rooms are kind of destroyed or closed off. But I still remembered my way around, having so recently played it. Um, and it was just cool to see. And then, yeah, you kind of have that moment where he flashes back to, just the human cost of what happened. And I mean, you even see that around the police station where he's kind of like sad and somber about the fallen police officers that he encounters, or you go back into that little squad bay where they have their desks and, he says a few quotes, a few little one-liners where um you can kind of see where he felt, he wanted to be that police officer, wanted to be on the squad, and he just never got to. And then, yeah, finding that little skeleton in there, it hits you with that reality of what he's feeling of
Everything he's been through up to that point, right? All the not just
oh
this game,
yeah,
but the other games as well. And
over 20
yeah,
years now of this, or 30 years. With him, I think he's projected to be like about 50 years old in Requiem, right? So
Mhm.
he's stiff, he's beat up, he's got a lot of things going on in his head, a lot of trauma, but he's still got it, dude. He's kicking ass out there, and
Was he parrying the tyrant with just a hatchet like he's nothing?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
dude,
Everyone's like, this guy's a superhero at this point.
it's really phenomenal how they tied up everything together, and how you could go back in there and feel those elements. And I agree with a lot of the things Nick said, though. I kind of started getting sick of Grace. To feel like you can only play a game so much where you feel like you are the victim, like you're the weak, element. Like you want to play a video game and kind of feel like, all right, I could shoot all these people. I could, like, you're the powerful one, but it's very rare where like you're forced to play Grace. You're so weak. But now, I mean, I was telling Nick on the phone, the new game plus, features where now it's like I've unlocked unlimited ammo. So I'm curious to go in and another playthrough. I might play on Insanity, but now I have Grace with the unlimited ammo Requiem, and
Just unload on the girl every time you see her.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that change, it kind of gives you a different game now where it's like we talked about Grace. It's like, come on, you're an FBI agent, get your shit together. Um, but now it's like, okay, we have unlimited ammo, and let's
I got
see
my
what
shit
it's like.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what it's like running around with the Requiem. So I do like Capcom, Resident Evil. They do such a good job. All the Resident Evil games I've played have that feature to kind of go back in, do another playthrough. I bought some other guns as well, like um, an unbreakable knife for Grace. So you get kind of like it's like, all right, I played your game. Like you scared me a couple times. Now I'm gonna go back through and play, kind of with some OP weapons and see what I can do. Um, But I don't know if I'll do that right away. It's hard to jump right in back to back. I might wait a little bit and then play it, but I will definitely go back. It was good enough to pull me back in for sure.
So have you did you run through it twice to get unlimited ammo, or you were able to unlock unlimited ammo after your first playthrough because you did all those extra challenges?
Yeah, I did the first one. I just did casual, but then I did no healing items, which gets you a lot of points, and then no, I didn't collect any blood. As soon as I got the blood collector, I just put it in the storage, and so those are two achievements, both worth 100 gamer score for those hunters out there, trophy hunters out there. I just wanted to rip the Band-Aid off because now I don't got to worry about it. The rest of the achievements I'm going for, are just fun.
I like
smart move.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really smart move just to run through it that way, get it over with. For me, and I kind of touched a lot on it last episode, so I won't reiterate a lot of what I said already. But I think it was a fantastic game at the end of the day. One of my favorite games I've played in a while. Now that I finally get to talk about the end, when you do get to switch to Leon and you're just clearing it, the map connects the way it always connects in a Resident Evil game. And like Nick said, like the chainsaw zombies, you get the chainsaw fights and overpower them. And I tell you, it's like a mixture of like Resident Evil, Devil May Cry, throw some anime in there, and you're fighting zombies that are the former why USB, what was it, USSB or
BSAA.
Thank you. Those, and they have guns, so now you're fighting a new type of threat. The next thing you know, you're dodging mortars. Then you can use the mortars on the zombies when you realize, oh, I can control this thing. Oh, we're in business now. Then I'm in a hatchet fight with the commander who's Hunk, and we're going back and forth. Again, talk about like an epic anime moment, dude. We are clashing with hatchets, and that's what I said. I was like, okay, no guns, let's go, Playboy, let's do this. And then we're just fighting back and forth, and God, it was just so good, man, like that. And then you jump into then you're fighting the gigantic, your typical nemesis monster, Resident Evil, at the tail end of the game. And again, Leon runs up he's healed now, so he's superhero status. He doesn't have the T virus any longer, and runs up the tectnical, catches him right in the head.
If you chose that ending, right?
Well, I mean, that's where I love it. That's obviously the canon ending, and it sets you up because part of you, Leon wants you to destroy Elpis, but it's but you realize when you're watching it and you're paying attention to the story, Elpis is the goddess of hope. Grace is like his last hope, and you keep hearing that word. And then I'm like, party's like, oh, why didn't anyone just figure it out? And it's like, oh, if you type it in wrong one time, it'll destroy everything. So I love that they had that little failsafe in there, because it's like none of these scientists, these brilliant minds, could figure out anything, but they were probably just too scared. Like, what if I'm wrong? It destroys everything. Right. But finding out that what they were releasing was the cure, the antiviral, was so cool. And it's like, oh, so now we're stepping into a new realm where is this antiviral going to be weaponized? And if you watch at the tail end of the credits, another group drops in, takes out the soldiers waiting there. And so now we're prepping ourselves for Resident Evil 10. Mm-hmm. Running, a few other things like killing the girl again was satisfying. Yeah, I mean,
nobody mentioned
inferior. I haven't gotten the chance. I was about to hit something.
All right, go ahead. All right.
Yeah, let him continue.
Let him cook. Talk, and then taking the girl out, and then you go back to Emily, and Emily turns into that horrific monster. And then you think Leon takes her out, and then I love it, that full circle moment where you go and get her back, and there's the picture of her and Grace, and she has her eyesight back and everything. So just a really powerful moment there.
I don't even get how that's possible.
He's like, I didn't hit any of her vitals. I'm like, how did you know where her vitals were?
I was hitting her right. I was hitting all the vitals.
I was still. I was trying to take that thing down.
I know. I was like, where are we? What are you talking about? And then how would you even know?
I shot her in the heart 3 times.
Yeah. All I aimed was for vitals, but no. And then it made me forget. Oh, and then you got the Wesker guy. Zeno. He's the Wesker clone.
Yeah.
And you get to see his moments. He I just wish one thing. I do wish we could have fought him You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We only really fought him in cutscenes, but it's okay. But I do like where Victor comes in, he said, and just takes his head clear off, like you're
I
nothing but an
know.
imitation. I'm like,
I don't
dude,
know, but you fighting Wesker in even in Resident Evil 5, like it's so annoying to fight that guy. He's just
'cause he
teleporting around. He dodges your bullets. Like I was kind
it's
of,
part of the experience, man. You got to do it. You got to gung fu him, just
I
like
know, I
John
was
Wick.
kind of glad we avoided that fight. I thought, I was glad with these nice, big, easy boss fights. The boss fights were pretty easy in this game. I thought. What'd you get?
They were, yeah. You
Yeah.
get, especially as Leon, you just parry. Like you can, like you're parrying like gigantic tentacles. It goes back to him being a superhero. Like, come on, dog. Like that
Yeah,
hatchet must be made out of vibranium from X-Men or something.
Yeah.
But another antimanium. I'm sorry, I think I messed up. Apologize, X-Men. But no. What was my? Oh, that's why I like that is because I've always looked at Wesker and Leon as kind of like the Cloud and Sephiroth of the Resident Evil universe. Like I just feel like they need to scrap. It's always meant for them to scrap. But and they always have like the coolest scenes. I don't know if you guys ever seen that scene where they're going back and forth. I believe it's from 4, where they just keep firing their gun and they just keep like you guys see it. They just basically just have a fight where they're shooting their guns and it's like and they're like all over the place. Like it's unnecessary, but it's so amazing all at the same time. Just like being on a motorcycle, shooting demon dogs and jumping over a half fallen skyscraper. And then talking like I want to go back to that last part. I'll end my part here. Like one of my favorite scenes is that you do a gun joust on motorcycles with Victor. Like, come on, man. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
it's just
That is not.
just
I would
so
never
good.
would have guessed that's how you end him. Like it's
Well, you thought you ended him, and then he rolls up at the end. And he's like, "Hey,
yeah.
Wesker boy, Zeno, bye bye."
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
He's like,
yeah.
"My
You're right.
master's so brilliant." I was like, "Oh God, he's lost it. He's lost the plot. He's got an RPG in his hand again. Where'd you get that from?"
Yeah.
So
But
no one mentioned Mr. H making an appearance back.
X.
Mr.
yeah, why do you
X,
keep calling him Mr. H? Who
because
is
he's
Mr.
got a
H?
hat. He had a hat. Mr. Hat. That's what I want to call him. Mr. X, dude, the tyrant making an appearance back, man.
Mr. H was his 4th grade teacher that kept him after class.
And slammed his head into the wall like
Yeah.
Mr. X.
We'll
Just
talk
gives like
about
the
it.
memories.
But dude, that's why I'm so glad I played RE2 as well. Like, yes, the
Yeah.
full circle scene, all that stuff was like you really kind of connected with Leon and he felt like he failed. And that's kind of like his motivator through it. But then you fight him again. He comes through the roof and it's like
Yeah, that
this
motherfucker.
fucker is back. Like it
Yeah.
was
He's just as intimidating. Dude, I was on casual and I was blasting him in the head with the shotgun. Like he's still he can't be stopped. So
Tanks it. Just
he'll take
tanks
a
it.
knee. He'll take a knee for a little bit and then he gets back up.
Well, I love that. It's a great when Zeno says that he's like, I don't have time for you. And then that tell me that's not straight out of like Dragon Ball Z or something.
right.
That was basically Vegeta and Nappa. Like he's like, you take care of it, and just jumps in. He's like, have fun, hits him with the
Yeah.
one-liner.
He's like, I remember you, gets punched in the gut. He's like, and I remember that.
I know, like that's why I love Leon. This guy's dying from this virus, gets gut punched by this Hulk, and goes flying. He like hits the wall like that would kill any normal human. He's like, I remember that. Just coughing up blood.
I'd be puking probably.
Something else that was really cool that I liked in the end game was when you're in the Ark and you get to that one part and on the wall, it was like the brochure where they were selling the
you got
mutants.
they were selling the tyrants and stuff.
Yeah, and you
cool.
saw that like the whole reasoning behind this was making these military weapons, but it was like how they advertised it, the price range, and it was like,
yeah, you
this
see
is
what each
nuts.
thing. You see it's like B2 liquors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like talking about their capabilities and all this shit. It's like, this is crazy.
Those liquors are a motherfucker, man.
They are. I was not
Especially
happy to see
if you
those
weren't
things
crafting,
again.
so you couldn't make the acid bombs.
Yeah, the acid bomb saved me.
No,
I was just tossing those things like I was running out of business, man. Any bottle I found, I was finding the blood and making another one. Like, please.
You did get 2 free ones though.
yeah, you get a couple.
Counter.
I got a couple free. Like I used a couple throughout that I just picked up for free. But yeah, otherwise, like in some of those areas, you have to face them straight up, and I took them out. you know, in casual difficulty, you got enough weaponry.
That last
one
bout of them
moment.
is like 10 of them coming
Yes.
at you. You
Yeah,
go
when
in
you
that
run in as
room.
Leon.
Yeah, dude, and they're all there on the ceiling, and I'm like, oh shit.
Well, when you run in there too, you're talking. Yeah, I know you guys were saying the same thing. I was like, it's not going to be this easy, is it? Like, I know this is the last part, and then I look on the roof, and I'm like, bro,
There's like 15 of them.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, what did I
throwing
do?
grenades.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started hucking grenades. I threw one of the bomb things, then I sprinted out into the hallway and took out the rifle. I had no scope on the rifle at that point, and the charm that increases the power with no scope.
Oh,
And I
that I
just
did
stayed
the
at the
same
far end of the
thing.
rifle and just started headshotting them.
I did the same thing, dude. That rifle was OP.
Yeah.
Especially on the casual aim assist, it would just go right on the zombie's head. It was so easy.
Towards
Yeah,
the
that
end of the
scene-
game, I pulled a sneaky. So in the settings, I realized later on that
Mhm.
you could play standard normal difficulty and put the aim assist on like it's casual,
Oh,
and it
You had
didn't
fun.
change.
You had so much fun, didn't you?
But dude, I was like, this is so great. I
yeah,
was like, if I
dude.
had this the whole game, this would have been
It's a
so much
single player.
easier.
It's
Saved me
single
so much of a
player
headache.
game. Like it's, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
care.
on the roof with the aim assist was just clutch.
That's
dude,
what I was
'cause it
like. I
just-
wish I would have experienced that, because I was like, dude, I was sweating on that scene trying
Because
to.
to Dave's point, dude, you would click the trigger to like zoom in, and it would just take you straight to the zombie. And it's like, dude, this is awesome. Basically playing an arcade game at that point, shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah,
But
it's fun though. It's refreshing. We've been playing all these multiplayer, live service, online games. I don't want a single player game to be punishing. M- maybe some rewarding puzzles or things that maybe not everyone could figure out, but I don't know. We played Mio. We talked Mio earlier this year. That was a little bit too much for like too difficult to where it starts to not be as fun. You know, I'm
No,
okay with
I-
dying a couple times, but I don't know. Resident Evil casual difficulty with aim assist was great. It was like you're just playing through a movie and just having fun.
no, absolutely, dude. And it was I agree with you. I'm kind of in that same boat, David, to a certain point where I'm not a Souls-like guy. So
Mhm.
like getting absolutely devastated in a single player game after a while, it's like, okay, dude, like I get it. Like Mio, like when I beat Mio again, like I was part of me was like, do I go back and do all the extra stuff? No, I'm good. I'm good. But guys, so I want to wrap up this Resident Evil talk. I'm sure we'll revisit this game throughout the year. I last week gave it a 9 out of 10. Nick, what is your score?
Yeah, agreed. 9 out of 10. It was fantastic. Maybe even
Dave?
a 9.5 out of 10.
Lock it in now. Let me hear
Yeah,
it.
lock it in. 9.5.
Love
Only,
it.
and it would get a 10 if there's just a little bit less grace.
Not even less grace. I think just give us more Leon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a perfect point, because Grace was very well crafted, very fun, but I just wanted more of that time in Leon's kind of gameplay style.
Awesome. Dave?
I'm gonna say 8 out of 10. Based
Get off this call.
Just based off the initial fun, I had the initial fun, but I don't know if history is gonna be as kind to this game. I think it's going to come down to, I know there's some DLCs.
We had 3 concurrent viewers. They all left after you said that.
No,
Our subscribers went to 0 immediately.
This could be a hot take. But I know there's been some news about like Requiem DLCs that are in the works, and that'll be interesting to see what they come up with. But I'm just saying, I think it's a fun first playthrough. I don't know if this is going to go down. I mean, it's got the ratings. I guess they're locked in and stuff like that on a lot of these websites. But I don't know. Like we talked about, like I know I'm about to go into my next playthrough. And after encountering the girl the first time, it's like, I guess you rate the game based off your first initial just one playthrough. What do you give it? So I guess that's why it's so high. But I don't know. I think it's great, but I don't think it's. I think people were just super hyped because first big game in the year. It's been a little while since there's been a Resident Evil game. Um, First big game, this year that's pushing the limit on like graphics and stuff, and I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I think it's great, but not like worth this crazy hype that everybody is discussing.
You're just one of those
There's our
guys, aren't you?
there's our clip. There's our
There's
clip.
our
Look
clip
at
right
you.
there.
Well, it's like both you guys said the Leon part. You want a whole game like that, but then like, do you want to play Grace's portion again? No. Like,
No,
does
No,
but
but
it's the
I
same reason I didn't play through RE2 again, but it was still a great game. Like, if you want to go back in and people want to do that, I think that's great. For me, I don't want to play back through it, and that still doesn't change my score. It's a single player game. It's very rare on games I've freaking love to do like a new game plus because it's like I
well,
I,
right
I
to give it a
love the
9.
experience and
Like,
and
I'm replaying Pokemon again. Are you gonna replay Resident Evil Requiem? And so I'm saying
I'll play a
if you would never
DLC
replay it,
or a
is it a
challenge.
9?
Yeah,
yeah,
because it's
I
it's
would
a
say
different
so.
experience. Like a Pokemon game, you could do different builds, different parties, you could trade.
That
It's
no, that's
replayable,
true. That's true.
but it's
Also,
like,
I would say like go back to. I'm sorry, Nick. I just want to jump in on this too,
yeah,
but
go
like
ahead.
Expedition 33. I'm not going to play that game again, but that game sits to 9.5, close damn near to a 10 for me.
Yeah,
I
same.
think what you got to rate it more. Again, no, Dave. Actually, no, you don't need to rate it anyway. I was saying, like I like the perspective you're coming from, actually, but I rate it, and I think Nick's kind of cut from the same cloth when it comes to this. Is the experience. Like I said, I wasn't looking at that game as a trophy chasing game or anything along those lines. I was like, I know what this game is for me, and what it did for me was exactly everything I wanted from it. Like I do agree the gray stuff started getting a little old just because it is scary. It like kind of it calluses your nerves. You're just like, bro, please stop.
Yeah, it's mentally
But
draining.
even as much as I loved playing that Leon part, no, I wouldn't go through that part again because I know it now. I know all of it, and for me, that's like I'm notorious for that now. Like it's hard for me to go back and rewatch movies. Now, to your point, Dave, there's special ones like Lord of the Rings, the Harry Potter series, Star Wars. Like the
Yeah, the
classics,
Right.
classic.
Pokemon's. I agree with you. Like playing the Pokemon's back. Like there's
So
something
those would be,
about
I
that.
guess, that would hit like the 10 out of 10, like perfect, you know.
It's
I think
this could
every
be a
game
discussion
loses its.
for a different time because I think we can really dive into this. And I actually love that you've brought this up because that is actually a really good perspective to look at things from. And I don't want to go into it now because I haven't thought deeply enough about it, but I'm going to. And I think we maybe revisit this
Well, I
because
want
I
to
Yeah,
think
say
that's a
one thing on it.
really good
we
point.
could bring it back on a slow week.
I do want to bring
Yeah.
one point on it though. Is
No, we're
Nope,
moving on.
nope,
the
we're out of
old
time.
the
We ran
the
out of
old,
time.
the old saying is like you see people that like, and I'll just use Fallout as an example because it got really big,
Oh, no.
and you go on there
Oh,
and you see
you
people
had to bring up
saying,
Bethesda. Here we go.
well, no, but you hear people say this comment. I wish I could go
This wasn't
back.
in the run a show.
I wish I could go back and play this game for the first time again.
Yes.
Because any
Yes.
Right.
game loses its luster the second, to some degree, the second time you play through it, because you know what's going to happen.
Of
Y-
course.
and you've been through it. You know the maps. You've kind of, there's that freshness and that like um anticipation of what's going to happen at the end, or what's going to be the next mission, or what am I going to run into, what boss am I going to face. And ultimately any game once you've done it, you, you know unless it's just a arcadey experience, then you're like, all right, I'm not going to
Yeah.
play it again. Or if I do, it'll be years down the road once they have a couple DLCs, and maybe I'll try to run through it again and then do this new content.
No, and I think you're right. I think some things are just meant to be experienced as they are. And this is what that was. And it's like I think it goes back to the world we live in now. I think that's where I was gonna approach it from, Dave. It's like those are things from our past where we had like we didn't have so much content to digest, so they sit special in our hearts, I feel like. And these
That's
newer
true.
things like a Expedition 33, like a Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, like a Resident Evil 9, some of these bigger awesome games that have come out recently, it's like I experienced an absolutely amazing moment with this game. I don't I don't want to replay it. I don't. And again, we're not. There's people that are different from us and that love to replay games like this over and over again. And I mean, our Resident Evils are kind of built to replay, and like you said, break them. Like you break them, you find all the glitches, you get all these extra quote unquote cheat codes that you unlock.
Yeah.
But to your point, I think that you what you got with for me with Resident Evil 9 was a tale of two games, like I always say. Like you get this extreme survival horror game with Grace, and then you get this action-packed hero shooter with not hero shooter guy. Let me not put that term in there. I'll get destroyed in the comments, but not like but getting this like 80s action hero just dominating through these zombies. And that's like I think in that pocket in which I experienced the game, played through it 9.5 hours, respected my time in a time where games are rare to respect your time, um, was a great like I didn't feel like I don't know if you guys ever felt this way. You played something, I feel like I kind of wasted some time there. I don't really needed to do that. None of this game felt like a waste of time at all. When I finished it, I felt like God, that was a good experience. That felt good. It was just, you know what I mean? And I think that's important. And this is another debate for another time, but like hearing people
Yeah.
like,
Just
I don't feel like I've
walking out
earned,
of the movie theater.
yeah.
That feeling of like, man, that was a great movie, you know?
Yeah.
Well, like you guys, I'm sure we all saw it. Like when Avengers Endgame happened, like we all walked out like, damn, man, what a hell of a payoff. That was awesome.
Mm.
Or Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. For me
Yeah.
and Nick, for sure, Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith. Like after watching that choreographed battle through
Oh,
Coruscant, you know what I mean? Like,
That was a different era of going to the movie theater. There was people
yeah.
dressed up. People were dressed up like Obi-Wan, you know, getting a bucket of popcorn.
And then like we still do those quotes to each other all the time between those two. But I again, like I think we do revisit this. I think Nick, you brought up an excellent point there too. And let's structure this and really sit down with it a bit because that you do. I think there's a lot to pick at here, and I think it'll be a
Yeah.
fun thing, not only for us to get into, but for the audience to follow right after us and kind of give their takes on it. But
Hmm.
boys, we've been going for a while, but there's one last thing we need to talk about and really jump into, and it's just as big right now in the zeitgeist as Resident Evil, but for some many different reasons. Another game came out that same weekend, that same time frame. Well, not the same weekend. The Server Slam Star weekend game came out shortly after on the 5th. Is Bungie's Marathon. All of us cut our teeth on Bungie games where we learned to become gamers, learned how to play shooters. We all played Destiny. We all played Destiny 2. We've all played all the Halos. We have our gamer cards and we have the credentials to back it up when it comes to Bungie. It's a company that we truly love. Now, granted, this isn't the same Bungie that made a lot of those games. It's some key players are still there, so we can never forget that. We've talked about that before with with groups such as BioWare and Bethesda to a certain extent. But talking about Bungie and Marathon, I think there's a lot to be said here. I believe I've played the most between the three of us just because I had finished RE9 before you guys and then jumped in a little bit more, done a lot of solo runs, a lot of teams of randos, some trios of randos, and then doing some rook runs. Well, first we'll tell the audience, which I'm sure everyone kind of knows, what Marathon is. Marathon is a hero extraction shooter with Destiny-esque raid elements in certain parts of certain maps. And that's like you get to choose between different shells is what they're called, and there's multiple ones: triage, destroyer, recon, assassin, thief, vandal, and rook is your solo only that goes in like halfway through the runs. You jump into different maps. It kind of follows anyone that played Arc Raiders. It's an extraction shooter. It's high risk, high reward. You go in with loadouts. You could be like us sometimes, go 4 matches in a row, dominate everybody, get out, get X filled. Or what happened to us the last time when the 3 of us played together? We take out one team, take out half another team. Bots start attacking us. Another team takes advantage, takes us out. We almost got them. Let's not forget. We almost got them.
Yeah.
But that's what you're kind of getting with this game. And I'm going to go. You guys stop me whenever. What I'm seeing with Marathon is people are pulling up Steam numbers like that and everything like that. And I decided to pull that up right now as we were talking. And right now we have 55,000 players in right now with a 60,000 24-hour peak, 88,000 all time. Which those numbers, obviously, they would want them to be higher. You'd obviously want those clearing six figures for sure. But I think they've been steady since the game came out. And Nick, I know you're better at picking up research and checking throughout. But I mean, from what I understand, they're not like astronomical numbers, but they're pretty consistent numbers since the game is released. And for me, what I'm noticing is there is a hard barrier to entry when it comes to this game. Because what I'm noticing is some people are like thinking of it as like an arena shooter. And like you're like, well, we don't fight enough. It's boring. It can get boring. I was like, or they're treating it more like a battle royal or something, like running around and looking for fights and looking for things like that. And in this game, it's like it harkens back to what this game is. It's an extraction shooter. You gotta you want to fight, but you gotta be smart about how you fight. Like, hey, let's take out these bots with knives. It's quieter. This team we just took out, we're kind of hurting from we're low on ammo, we're low on healing items. There's another team coming. Maybe we back up and go rethink our strategy, go loot a bit, maybe come back for them when they least expect us, get the jump on them. And I think that's where the game shines. Like Nick had originally told me he wasn't having fun as a solo thing, but then he took a different approach. And like I said, I think the solo is like a survival horror game because it's such a you're going in there with a kit if you decide not to use a free one. And you're going to lose that stuff if you die. But there's also a chance for me. I had one of my best runs. I got the jump on someone that was just absolutely stacked out of his mind with healing items, blue backpacks, purple shield. I was like, what is happening here? And got all this stuff. But I got the jump on him because he didn't see me. I caught him with a grenade, caught him with a drone, took him down. So for me personally, I'm really enjoying the game. I've seen a lot of the reviews. I think 7, 8 out of 10. You can kind of jump between the two. I think that it's how you approach a game. And what I don't like is when I hear some of the discourse, I see certain things where people are just wanting to hate it. And again, I don't care if people like it or not. That's not my prerogative. But I also think you got to look at it for what it is. It isn't an arena shooter. It isn't Halo or Destiny. It is what it is. It's an extraction shooter, and it's fun to play because it's shooting is fun. It's Bungie shooting. You can feel it when the moment you pull a trigger. I said it last week, and it is a highly aggressive. And one of our, one thing I did mention is that there are no friends in Marathon. There aren't. Only your crew. And I made that very clear because I made the worst mistake of letting a rook live, told him to go away, and he came back and got us when we least expected when we were all hurt and injured. From that point on, right before I extracted last time with the randos, I saw a rook, and before the exfil went, I ran out, killed the rook, ran back to the exfil. Didn't even loot his body, just to send the message. No, there's no more friends. I do not care. I'm going for you, and I'm going for your loot because that game has proven it's not Arc Raiders. There's not going to be fun singing kumbaya moments. It's like, no, we're scrapping. And that's what it is. It was funny. I played with this one group, and dude, we fought one team, dying, reviving back and forth, fought another team that jumped into it. They're fighting each other. We're fighting. Everyone's fighting each other. We come up on top. We have to go try to revive our one guy, and he's surrounded by the big bots with the shields. We have to be tactful. That takes us about 3 minutes to finally take those things down, get him. And we had not talked on the mic at all the entire match, and we all hopped on the mic. And I just said, well, that was a fun scrap, wasn't it? And everyone just starts laughing. It's like, yeah, dude, we only died a couple times. It was just and we just got to like sit there and like, you know, joke around and have and like that's what PvP is all about. You know what I mean? Now I get that this does isolate a lot of people. You are going into a specific genre. I don't know if this was the right move for Bungie to go this route. It's a game I'm truly enjoying. I see the numbers are, like you said, they've been relatively steady. Obviously, you would want them to be higher, but it's not an end all be all. We don't know all the total sales or anything right now, but they did. And then I'll leave it up and I'll pass it on to you guys. But they did just do a patch update. I don't know if you guys had a chance to see this. Just a few things. I'll read these off. They increased the starting ammo for free kits, nerfed the UESC robot guards to reduce early frustration. And then they like increased the for quest, it was like 10 meters, now it's 20 meters, so you can kind of see where you're going a little bit closer now, which is nice. They did nerf the thermal scopes because they were ridiculous. Those thermal scopes were absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, so boys, if you want to ask me questions, pick apart, I want your thoughts as well. For me, right now, I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited for this new map, this new raid map to release, the Marathon Cairo Archives. I know there's a whole group right now figuring out the puzzles, figuring out what's going to happen, figuring out how to unlock this thing. So I think that's really where the game's going to shine. And again, I don't know how I feel about them holding back reviews until that comes out. I feel like that you know, it's like they were saying that they harkened it back to the Destiny Taken King time frame where like everyone kind of hated on Destiny till Taken King came out, and everyone loved Destiny. So they kind of been through the show before. So we'll see. As of right now, like you have your 3 maps, you have Perimeter, you have the Marsh, and then you have Outpost. Outpost is very PvP heavy with that's the one in the center of it, the pinwheels, like adding a little bit of Destiny raid mechanics in it, which is pretty fun. And you know, trying to do that while competing with other teams is frustrating, but also a ton of fun and rewarding if you get through it all and get out of there. So, but yeah. So whoever wants to go first, let it rip. But yeah, that's kind of my high level thoughts now.
I was gonna hop in and try to get my thoughts real quick. Dave, you go. My son's just getting back from the Globetrotters, so I'm gonna go dark on the screen for a little bit. You guys kind of go back and forth, and then I'll come wrap up with my final thoughts. But I want to go see how that went and help get him to bed real quick. So
can you just make sure you mute when you hop up there, brother?
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna
give us a review when you get back. He heard us. But go ahead, Dave. What do you? I know you were kind of telling us before that it wasn't really clicking right away with you, but you want to jump in more, kind of experience it a little bit more. But I think it's a great perspective you can come in with of like how the onboarding is, which has kind of been the big talking point around gamers right now.
Yeah, I think unfortunately it's only going to hurt them. People are impatient these days. We live in this world where it's people quickly look, what's the online review? Oh, it didn't score that high. I'm not going to waste my time because there's so many other games to play. You know, the ratings have become everything. And then, of course, it's like, what are the streamers playing? What is everybody watching? And of course, a lot of these posts, you don't know how true they are. Well, it's just clickbait, things like that. But I did see one thing that was talking about the Burnt Peanut was saying he was just going to play Marathon like in his private time. Like he wasn't going to stream it because everyone was just being so negative in the comments. And I'm worried that Marathon's going to get that treatment, the high guard treatment, I guess we could start to call it, where the internet kind of just teams up on this game. I know it's gotten, you know, better than high guard. It's been more in the mixed category. But I'm willing to give it more time because of what you told me with the third map being the best and knowing that they have a raid coming. But I think the average gamer, the person, you know, the people we used to be working 40 hours a week, oh, I'm going to check out this new game Marathon, and not knowing that there's a raid coming, not knowing all these other things, you know, they might just kind of jump over to another shooter just because it's a little foreign in the beginning. You know, I realized, okay, I could take 10 minutes, I could read these descriptions, you know. I found myself becoming a little programmed, a little impatient to where it's like, wait, I don't even know what these items are. But then I was like, you know what? Why would I know immediately? Like, why don't I take a second to read them and learn about this game? So you definitely have to give it some time. I just think that people might not be willing to take that time, especially if they don't have like set friends to play with.
And that's the one thing I can jump onto is even when I do trios of like random people, it's been good experiences. It's rare that you get like a bad one. Like I had one like guy that was just upset the entire time he was playing and kind of like whining the whole time. Like, dude, like if you don't like the game that much, man, just hop off, dude.
Yeah,
But I do again, I don't think it's the best game ever made by any means. I think it's a fun shooter and I'm enjoying it. And I like the extraction shooter gameplay loop. Um, and that's where like I want to remind people like they never like hid what this game was.
right.
They said it was going to be an extraction shooter. This is what this game is. And I think that that's where people are like, well, this, that, and the other, and like hate like if you defend it or not. Like I'm not defending it because it's Marathon or it's Bungie. I'm defending it because I like the game. I think it's worth people's times if they want to invest in another live service, which is, I think, the bigger talking point here. There's so many options out there, and we're even seeing ones that were super successful, such as Battlefield, start losing their luster, and players are dropping off and looking for something new. Um, I think it's gonna be up to Bungie and Marathon to decide how they're gonna retain these people and retain these players. And like for me, I'm enjoying it because the time you put in, the time you take to learn the game, it is rewarding. Like you realize what all these people were like, oh, what's all this random stuff do? I was like, well, you could trade this in for ammo, you could trade this in for med packs, you can use this to upgrade this and that and the other. You know what I mean? Like if you look at it and pay attention to it and track things that you need to upgrade, and like I'll say always prioritize vault space, like and keep finding those things and keep making that vault space go up. Because that it packs full, and I think it's very generous with what all the free stuff it gives you, even if you get wiped out on a map. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you gotta
Yeah,
decide what you're gonna keep, what you're not gonna keep. And so for that perspective, I think it's really nice. And like even the free kits getting a little ammo bump is nice, and the bots not being so intense, because at one point they are a little too intense, like especially if like you're by yourself on like a solo run, like they're just as hard as they are if you're in trios. So imagine that with two
yeah,
other people not having your back. And it's like learning the tricks of the trade. Like I guess there's a new drone meta where like you can utilize the thief's
mm,
drone and add like basically turn it into the drone from Red Sect, where it basically bombs teams and stuff. We gotta try to figure that out and start using it before they nerf it. Um,
yeah.
but you know what I mean?
There's a
Like I
lot
think
more
the
to
aesthetic,
uncover.
yeah, and I think aesthetically, I like the aesthetic of it. I think the worlds are pretty cool. I think the characters are, yeah, not my cup of tea, like the designs of them, but like they're cool in their own right. Like I play as the Recon a lot. I like it. Kind of looks like the Chinese stealth armor from Fallout games.
Mm,
The Destroyer is basically just a Titan pulled out of Destiny. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, all in all, like I think we have a solid PvP shooter with some PvE elements in there. I'm excited for you to jump in the outpost and kind of get a taste of the raid stuff that they have in there, and then us going fully into that raid and trying to figure it out as a squad, while also realizing that, like I'll say it again, I think that should be their shirt. There's no friends in marathon, man. Like we're gonna all roll in there. No one's gonna want to work together, and I think maybe this raid is like one of those moments where the game forces us all to come together as like this big unit. That's like, okay, the only way we're gonna win this thing is if we all stop trying to kill each other and we focus on the mission at hand. So that'll be kind of a cool moment if it makes everyone kind of meld together and do that. So,
yeah,
but again, Dave, I know that you're still kind of wanting to you basically just gotten your feet wet and a little skeptic of it right now, but I think
yeah.
that
I've got more to play before I give a personal rating.
yeah, and I appreciate that. About like you weren't just like you said I'm going to give it some more time. It is Bungie, give it that that worth, just because how much Bungie means to you. But
Yeah,
I think that we'll have to see him. Like while we're waiting for Nick to come back for give his thoughts before we wrap this whole thing up. But do you think that Marathon has long term legs, or are you going to wait to see how this raid plays out before you kind of make that call?
and I think it's tough now to break in break into the space and take that long-term category, because we've talked about it on the show. Some of these games, I mean, people are still on World of Warcraft, people are still on Fortnite. It's now every new game that comes out needs to peel people away from those big titles.
Mhm.
Something like Resident Evil can be so successful because it's like the gaming community took a break for a weekend, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, let's all go get scared, let's go shoot some zombies, and then it's over. But something, these games are jumping in now where it's like, oh, a season pass, a battle pass, and something. It's like, it's hard for people. I mean, Call of Duty community is huge. All these other games that take up so much of your time. I mean, like you talked about earlier, Battlefield, best selling game of 2025, and people are not even going to do the season 2 battle pass. It's over. Like,
Yeah.
it's very difficult for a new game to jump in and take over this long term uh attention. And
Yeah.
I don't
Besides,
I don't think
no, to your
Marathon's gonna make it.
when we did the campfire special, I remember you talking about like the frustration with Battlefield just not releasing a full game and like wanting to piecemeal it. And to your point, like they
Mhm.
tried the typical piecemeal battle pass live service strategy, and it's backfiring. Who knows what happened if they would have released a full game with all these different,
Yeah,
like
just a
the
huge game for $70. You got all this stuff. And then yeah, they could throw in the battle pass and
well, yeah, keep using the battle passes, but you have all this great shit that you can keep playing. When you get tired of this, now you can jump over to Land the Sea and all that different stuff. But
yeah.
I don't know. Like I think only Fortnite's really figured it out, but I think they're just so massive now. They're like at the point where they're too massive to fail. It seems like,
Right.
but
And
yeah,
marathon dropping in 2026, I don't know. If it's 10 years ago, this could be a huge but I feel like it now. It's how many extraction shooters are out there? Not as many as the battle royales, but in terms of live service, are you going to play this game for a year? It's like Destiny.
Mhm.
Destiny 1 and 2 pulled people in for years and years, but I don't think Marathon's going to have that same effect.
No, I have to agree with you because even as much as I loved Arc Raiders, which was probably the biggest extraction shooter, Tarkov is like what Tarkov is. I'm not like too versed in that one, but I know that Arc Raiders has probably got the largest mass appeal of any of those games. That kind of made like
Yeah.
all these streamers famous again and got them all back into like the views and having fun and stuff. But I dropped off of that probably after a month, maybe 2 months. So
Yeah.
maybe I'm just not the full target audience, but I will say this in my time with Marathon, I'm having more fun than I was having in Arc Raiders just because it's more my type of shooter comparatively to a
Mhm.
third person. But Nick, Dave, and I have been like jumping back and forth
Yeah,
with a bunch of
sorry,
things.
fellas.
So no, you're fine, man. I just want to hear your let's go ahead and give us your high level thoughts on
Yeah,
Marathon. Everything we've discussed, you and I kind of talked about the other day when you shot me a call when I just kind of went off and you were like, "Hey, wait."
yeah. So, all right, it's sitting at a 75 on Open Critic. I flashed that earlier. I agree with that, right? It's initially, I'll tell you, I went into it with really low expectations. I kind of saw the original postings when I counterpicked it was one of the reasons I counterpicked it because I was like, what are they doing with this? And this is not going to work. Well, it actually had worked a lot better than I thought it would. Um, it's fun. It's got its highs. It's got its lows, right? When we were running and gunning that one map as a squad, it was fantastic. It was just fun, right? We're hitting it. I think what it could do better is yes, when I played solo, and this will make sense, but when I played solo, I was kind of still playing that play style of trying to run and gun, get some good kills, and get geared up that way. Not how to play it. You told me you played it like a survival horror. That's what I did. Much better experience. Had a lot more fun. It was very tactical with who I shot, when I shot, if I shot, and really focused on my faction missions. And so it was almost kind of like a different game. Maybe it's intended game that way. As a squad, though, and I think we saw both sides of the coin, you have really pumped up matches and you have really slow matches, right? To where it's like when you're fully squatted up, you kind of want to at least get into one scrap during the match, right? So it kind of makes you want to seek that out. What I think Marathon's biggest downfall is going to be, and do I think it's going to survive? I don't know. And the reason I say that is because the barrier to entry or the people playing it, and nothing to do with people saying it's Concord. It's not that. It's definitely its own thing, and it's fun as its own thing. But it is hard to. It's a lot of stuff in your face all at once, and it put a lot of people off. And my worry is I'd say I'm curious to see this weekend what the counts go back to, how many more players jump back in, because realistically, any game's numbers are going to decline during the work week and go back up during the weekend. However, when you look at arc raiders on, we're just using Steam database because people are talking about it. Their all-time peak when it popped was 481,000 players. So a big player base. And I think when we looked at Marathon, it's 88. So you didn't have a lot of people really giving it the time of day when it dropped. The numbers are trending down. They might pop back up over the weekend, but if people get in there and they kind of got off put by the UI, by the things that popped out at them, they didn't want to give the time to learn the different pieces. They didn't really get involved in the faction missions. They played a couple rounds and they wrote it off. That's what's going to kill the game. Is if it starts losing heavy player count, that kills any live service game, right? You don't have a sustainable matchmaking.
We just saw it with High Guard. All these people jumped in the first weekend because it was all the news, and then nobody came back for weekend 2. And now I'm not saying Marathon's it's gonna go down like that, but
right.
I think you're bringing up a really good point. It's like everyone jumps in weekend 1. Let's see what happens weekend 2 now. Are people gonna go do Resident Evil Insanity like I'm probably gonna do, or are they gonna jump back into Marathon?
Right. And so, and there's other games dropping, and Crimson Desert's on the horizon. So what will that do to the player count of the single player base?
Next week.
Another thing with Marathon as well is I'm kind of frustrated that Bungie did this thing with the reviews. And like I said, fantasy picks aside, look, if you don't want people to review your game in the state it's in, then wait a month and drop it. That's my honest thoughts, right? I mean, people are going to, and as we saw in Open Critics, some critics are already going ahead and doing it, right? And they should, because the game is released, right? If you wanted to say, I don't want you to judge my product until it's finished, then don't release it until it's finished. I mean, if it really only took an extra month for you to get this raid in here, then just wait. So that's just kind of, a personal thing that I was like, why'd they have to, put this message out? And that just reignited a lot of the haters, I think. Yeah, I'm excited for the raid. I think that will be cool. I think it's going to be kind of tough. It's really going to count on how they develop that. If they go like the full Destiny raid mechanics where you have to be on the ball and communicating with your team, and fighting off other players, it's going to be pretty extreme. You know what I mean? And I think that's going to kind of, I hope they don't go that route, because that's also going to silo a lot of players, that solo players, like what I hope they don't do is firewall it, for lack of a better term, for the solo players out there to say, you need a team to do this. You need a team that's on point. And maybe one of your buddies just, barely plays or something. And then, you can't even do end game content unless you have a squad that's like dedicated to Marathon, like Destiny.
It's tough. That's tough because there is so many find a group features and things out there with Discords, and even Xbox has one on its homes, and so it's like I do see the reward because that takes me back to OG Bungie with Halo, where there was a reward with having friends to do that 4-player legendary or some of those VidMaster achievements. I think you should, not everything should be able to be played solo. Like,
True, but when you have 88,000 players and you're going downhill, I mean, just initially, not saying it's going
right.
downhill, it's trending slightly down, and we'll see after this weekend. But if you're already kind of doing that, I think for the sake of trying to make the game the longevity, at least the first raid have a low barrier of entry, and then start dropping some crazy ones after that if you want to, and people are popping in and they're loving it. But if they go balls to the wall the first raid, they're going to hit what they hit with the original player base that said this is too much and back off. You're going to hit the rest of the solo players with that and be like, all right, well, I can't even do end game content.
No, I think you bring a great point up. I think that's why they have that fill crew mechanic. But to your point, like some people just don't want to do that. They don't want to engage with that. They want to play the game their way. But to Dave's point, I think that's not the Bungie way. Like even a solo player in Destiny couldn't go do a raid by himself. You know what I mean? So I think, unfortunately, that's what you're going to get with this. And I think because before you got back, Dave and I were just talking about that, where it's going to be what you said. It's going to be probably heavy Destiny raid mechanics. You're going to be fighting off other teams, and it'll be really cool if after like a few days, everyone realizes, oh, the only way we can make this work is if we all work together, like a full team, like a full run with how many teams load into that. Like that's the secret.
Yeah.
Like everyone has to work together, so everyone has to chill. But then you gotta go back to that Arc Raiders edge. Is like, will someone just get an itchy trigger finger?
And they will. And that's what's going to be the rub. Or it's like, all right, I'm going to go loot the boss, and you get sniped in the back.
And that part, I kind of like that idea where it's like we all get to the very end, we finish it, and
we just turn on each other,
and then everyone just scrap it. And then like, because you'd be pissed if you lost, but if you end up winning and like you're the last team standing, that endorphin hit you'll get, just like, not only am I going to loot this boss, but I'm going to pick through every one of you. And I'm sure you guys brought your best stuff.
Yeah, but talk about a high and talk about a low. You imagine doing a 2-hour raid and you get knifed in the back. A controller being 3 pieces.
Yeah.
But I think
Kong and the controller.
Just hitting it with your the slaps from and toss it up, do that when he cranks his arm up.
Yeah.
And just hit it off. But no, guys, I think we like we said, we'll let this bake for a few. We'll let the raid come out. We'll revisit. I'm sure we'll keep playing back on and off before it comes out. And again, with Crimson Desert around the corner, that's kind of our teaser for next episode, everybody. We're going to be going more marathon impressions. I'll talk a little more Diablo Season 12, just a little bit. I won't bore you guys. Don't worry. And then we'll definitely start gearing up for some full Crimson Desert hype because a bunch of news has come out, but we haven't really got a chance to unpack it. So we'll definitely be doing that next week in preparation for the release the following week. But guys, I just appreciate both of you joining me this evening. It's been another episode. Just a reminder to our audience, we go live every week. We try to shoot for either Wednesdays or Thursdays, but as you know, we are what Dave said. We all work full-time jobs. We all bust our butts, and we try to make this happen. So try to bear with us. We'll try to get a little more set in stone schedule, but it's a little hard, but we try. We're having a great time. And most importantly, we really appreciate everyone's engagements in our shorts, in our clips, and our long form episodes that we release every week. But just a huge thank you to our audience. Huge thank you again to you boys. And any plans for the rest of the evening? Or are you both going straight to bed after this?
I might watch a little show or something. And, not to draw this into another conversation, but one of my picks, Monster Hunters, drops tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
So potentially over the weekend, I might debating on getting it or not. But I might do some playtime with that and have some discussions next week with that. But
nice.
Watch.
We're just gonna do marathon runs. Don't worry about that.
Might watch some footage on that. Did get to level 12 in Marathon, by the way.
Oh, we got to hit Outpost. We got to get Dave up to snuff so he can join us.
Yeah.
Maybe we do an Outpost run after this. Dave, any plans this evening?
Oh, maybe just go snooping around the fridge for a little bedtime snack, and then maybe play about 10 minutes of Pokemon or so, drift off to sleep, a little no strip on.
You never told us what your team was before we called an evening. You just told us you threw Bulbasaur.
Yeah, who's your lineup?
I've got a bit of a wrecking crew right now. I've got
I got 4 Caterpies. Just rocking.
No, I've got a Sand Slash for the ground capabilities and the speed. I'm still early game though too, so I only have 4 right now. I think I got a Fearow, got the flying type. What else do I got? I'm trying to think.
This is what we're gonna do next week. I need your full lineup.
Yeah, I'll
six Pokemon by the time we record next week. I need that full lineup and where we're at because I'm gonna get this update every week from you.
I'll bring a full screenshot for you.
That's what I'm talking about. But again, everyone, another great episode. Thank you, everyone. Always remember, keep grinding, keep gaming. We'll see you all next week. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Cheers. Good night.
Good night.